truth. No, just you might have to Google this or Wikipedia, okay? But let's talk about the truth. And the truth was this, that the Rocky Mountain News and Denver Post were competing in such a way that had they continued to do that, both organizations would have gone out of business. Let me give you an example. We used to have something called a penny rate. A penny is 1/100th of a dollar. So think of it as a fraction of a euro. We used to be able to deliver our newspapers to your front door 365 days out of the year. It cost us over 200 euros annually to actually do that. But we're only charging a penny. You can actually have newspapers delivered to your front door every day of the year for a penny. Now, you don't need to be an economist to figure this out. Could either one of organizations continue to compete in that way? And the answer is, of course not. Of course not. And I'm not suggesting that during times of change and trouble that you shouldn't listen to people who are skeptical. I'm not suggesting it at all. But during times of turbulence, you need to be cautious as to who you listen to. The word is discernment. What's the word? Tell your neighbor what the word is. Discernment means you need to discern or be, how would you say it? Be very cautious or careful as to who you listen to during turbulent times. That's what discernment means. Will you listen to, again, fund masters, or will you listen to people like former Mayor Giuliani? You see, on September 11th in 2001, I was there. I was making a presentation in front of Verizon Communications. Verizon is one of the cell phone carriers in the United States. I was making a presentation in front of all their executives, approximately 1,000 people. 5 minutes before I go on stage, a young man walks up to me and he says, "Sir, there's been an accident downtown." Now, it's 5 minutes before my presentation, 1,000 people are in the line, and he says to me that a plane has hit a building. And I remember thinking to myself, really? Today? Seriously? And the reason I said that was because I thought about a conversation I had with a taxi driver. And the taxi driver and I, we were having this debate. I've been to New York countless times before. It was gorgeous. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. And we were saying to ourselves, wow, when was the last time it was this beautiful? So momentarily I thought about that conversation, but again, it's 5 minutes before my presentation. I don't have time to deal with this. I said, we'll probably figure it out later. So anyway, he goes over. Anyway, they introduced me. I'm 20 minutes into my presentation. The same young man walks up to me again in the middle of my presentation. He says, "There's been an accident downtown." He said, "The plane hit a building." And I just stopped. And I thought about it for a moment, and I said, "Something's wrong." And I said, "Well, I've already been made aware of this." And he said, "It happened again." Well, you know what happened from there, yes? Anyway, the next day I'm in my hotel room, and I'm glued to my television just like the rest of the world. Mayor Giuliani is about to make his first press conference. I can still hear all those cameras clicking. I can still see all the flashes. I can still hear all the reporters competing to see whose question is going to be answered next. And all of a sudden it occurred to me they were only asking him 2 questions. Number 1, how many people died? And number 2, who's to blame? So they were looking for blame and body count. And I will never, ever forget what Mayor Giuliani said. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, that is not my concern. My number 1 priority, my number 1 focus is to find survivors." Let's think about it for a moment. It is September the 12th, Manhattan, New York. It's the day after the biggest tragedy in our country's, our nation's history on our soil. Was there anything more important on that day in that city, in our country, than trying to find survivors? Was there anything more important? And then the lesson I learned about leaders on that day, in this case, in Mr. Giuliani's case, was that good leaders, they focus on the right things at the right time. He says, now is not the time to talk about blame or body count. And he says, with regard to the number of people with deaths, it'll be more than we can bear. And that turned out to be true. Good leaders, they focus on the right things at the right time. Does that make sense? Let's move on. By the way, are you ready for the truth? Now Some of you know the movie, right? Are you ready for the truth? Yes. And here is the truth. No matter what happens in your life, no matter what happens in your world, no matter how bad it may seem, you can handle it. You can handle it. You have handled all the challenges that have taken place in your life until you walk through those doors this evening. And you will deal with all the challenges that you face in the future. That, my friends, is the truth. Never, ever, ever forget what the truth is. Does that make sense? And also, remind your friends and your family and the people around you what the truth is. No matter what the circumstances may seem, it may seem so bad, you can and you will handle it. You will deal with it. No matter what. That's the truth. Is this good stuff? Please turn to your neighbors and tell them, I told you he was good. So this program, it's making managers into leaders. Let me give you a little bit of background about this particular program. It's a program that we've had over 60,000 executives go through worldwide. And in a moment I'll talk about some of the results. But the whole point here is bringing out the best in people.